Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today is VLOGOWEEN day 12, and we have drawn the Hermit. The Hermit is a card of solitude and meditation. In today's society, it's not really typically looked well upon to be a hermit, but in tarot, this is a good card because it's about meditation and stepping back into yourself and taking the time to get unbusy from the day-to-day life, something that right now I would love to be able to do if I had really a second to do it. But it probably means I need to start paying attention to maybe doing some yoga, some meditation, and just kind of getting out of my head a bit, because as you will see in this video, wow, this card was such a good draw today. This video was kind of all over the place. I may have edited it down well, but I'll be honest, this was a chaotic project. So if you guys remember, I thrifted this, it's like a cheap version of a card catalog. It's been a while now, but I don't hate the navy on it. I just wanted it to be more like what the rest of my stuff is, so I decided I was going to paint it green and put some card catalog style brass holders on it, which I'll show you here in just a second. So I chose this green, which actually ended up being perfect. It comes across a little blue in the video, and I tried to warm it up some so you could see, but it didn't turn out that great. But these are the little brass things. There's a spot to put a label in it, which I love. They're nice and big and chunky. I got them for, I think, $12 or so off of Amazon, and there's 8 of them. Also, I start out with this really rinky-dink screwdriver, and we end up with power tools because I thought this was going to be one of those really easy, simple DIYs, and it was not. As you see here, I painstakingly measured everything out, and honestly, I should have just eyeballed it because these little boxes were not that well made. They were square enough to mess me up. So you'll see I kind of fudge things towards the end, but I at least got like a decent, thereabouts picked out for our little brass pieces. But I go through and mark all of my holes first so that I can make all of my drill marks all at one time. They look like they line up pretty good, and then you set them on there and get ready to make it permanent, and things start to look off for some reason. So a lot of this kind of thing is where the perfectionist in me comes out. I'm a little bit obsessive compulsive as far as things need to line up, stuff needs to be straight, things need to match. I need even sets of stuff. It's just one of those things that as an artist, it can really set you back on the creative side of things, but when I do projects like this, it sets me back because I can't make it as perfect as I want it to without, all the extra tools and things like that. But I get to it eventually. Okay, and these are the little screws that came with these. They were actually really solid, nice hardware, but this like compressed cardboard stuff, because this is not real wood, it was really difficult to drill through or screw through, and I thought that it would be a lot easier, especially since these had kind of like the self-tapping end almost. And as you see here, I'm showing you that there's some space at the end where the screw comes through here because they are not thick enough. But off camera, later on, when this project is over, I'm just going to cover those with a little bit of hot glue so they don't scratch anything on the inside. I tried to find something as close to that measurement as I could that was still nice, and this is just what I had to go with. I'm gonna paint around these black holes as best as I can, because as you see in this very first clip, I painted over the hole, assuming that this paint would be thin enough that I would have to do a couple coats anyway, and it was a much better paint than I thought, so I ended up having to make little circles around them instead, which worked fine because the brass piece covered it up anyway. But I definitely thought I was going to have multiple layers like I usually do. You see that I'll come back through here in a little bit and remark that to make sure it's good and level, and that's when I start realizing just how badly unsquare all of these little cubes are. But stick with me because it turns out super cute, and I'm really happy that I painted things. Alright, and then we're going to use the teeny tiniest little 1/16 drill bit that I had to make some starter holes for these screws, because I didn't want to go too big and strip out this compressed paper stuff. It was really thick and really heavy, like dense material, and it, you know, was surprisingly impossible to just screw through it even with the drill, so let's do some pilot holes. Alright, and then after doing this one I realized how off it kind of was, and I'm not looking for absolute perfection. It's not like I'm trying to resell this or anything, but it really started to bug me after a few minutes, and I've edited it out, but I redid all the other boxes by the time I finally got to drilling these, just to make sure, like I can already tell just by looking at it, especially in the camera, that it was off. So you can see me here messing with the measurements and double checking, and they're totally off. So not sure what happened, but we fix it. Alright, and now to make it completely permanent, which is not stressful for me at all. I did choose to paint the brown sides instead of repainting the blue because I wasn't sure how dark it was going to come out, and I wanted the green to really be the green that was in the bottle because I loved it that much. But also, if I ever decide I want the blue again, I guess I could just take these handles off and switch them back around. So I think I bought the container itself for $3 at the thrift store. I bought the brass pieces for $12, but I only used about half of them, so $6 if you want to look at it that way. And of course I already had the drill and I already had the paint, and the paper would be free when I do the labels here in just a minute. And I already had the hot glue for the inside there. But all in all, something that definitely makes my space look a lot nicer and a lot more me after painting it. So I really hope you guys are enjoying this process. But I have lots more to show you, so stay tuned. So here is everything finished, although I have, after putting these in here, I have decided I'm going to paint the tops just a little bit. Probably not all the way to the back, but I might go back and also do that at some point. Just so that way when you pull it out, the top part isn't that brown color. Just personal preference mostly, but that's since I had already hit it a couple of times, like on that third box there, I went ahead and painted them. Alright, now that that's done, we're going to let them dry for just a minute while I put everything else back on top of this. In an ideal world, this would be on its own standalone table. It's giving me more space on this little bitty desk, but when I get my grandpa's old desk, it will sit by itself somewhere else on a table that doesn't have to be taken down all the time, because I use the folding one in the corner as a craft and whatnot project table, but then I also take it to events, so it can't always have stuff on it. And I've got a very big event this weekend. Alright, so now we are going to make the labels for, well, we're going to make a couple labels. I actually don't know what to put in a few of these containers just yet. But we're going to pull out the typewriter and make a couple of labels for my Instax camera and some ephemera that we're going to put in here. So this typewriter is a Royal. It is from the 1940s. It has a brand new tape on it. I have been slowly trying to figure out all of its little latches and buttons, and it just makes me smile ear to ear when I use it. I love it, and if I had the space, I would have 10 more just for the aesthetic, but also because I love to use them. Eventually, it will make its way into my everyday art, like you saw with the bookmarks and things, but it is a little finicky, and I'm trying to learn all of its ways so that I don't mess any of my pieces up at the very end. But I did a label that says Instax camera, and then I'm doing one that says ephemera, and we're going to cut those out. So I just used one of the other non-used handles to make sure I had the size right. I'll go back later and erase that line in there. I just used a little tweezer to pull it down since it was tight. And now to put the end stacks in it. I really love having this sit out on the counter, but it's actually good for an end stacks to keep it in the dark, especially if you have film inside of it. But I don't like laying it flat on its back either, so when I saw this, I knew one of the first things I was going to put in it was my end stacks and a couple little like film cartridges that I have for it. Plus that way it's right on my desk if I ever need it. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like and comment and subscribe and let me know what you think about using the old typewriter and, you know, how's the vibe for you guys, because I'm really enjoying things and I hope you're loving VLOGOWEEN. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!